What is up, YouTube? Johnny B here again today, and we are cold. It's freezing right now in Arizona. I don't know why it's so cold. That's why I'm wearing double sweater, so don't mind that. We are here with the Fiesta ST because last time we took it to the dyno, it didn't make the power that we wanted. So we knew what we needed to do to get a little bit more power. And one of the main restrictors, or one of the main issues to get to that power level that we want, is the stock manifold. The manifold needs to be replaced with something like this. This is a Pumaspeed equal length, I think it's called like a ram horn manifold. And with this is gonna help free up a lot of power, because with the stock one, the runners are really restricted, and the way that they're designed, they need to be ported, or they need something to be able to get enough flow out of it. Or you can spend a little bit more money and get a very nice manifold just like this one. And that's what we did. We just ended up getting one of these, swap it out. This is gonna remove a lot of that exhaust restriction, and we are gonna be up in the 400 horsepower range. And another thing that the tuner talked to us about, said that the wastegate is a little bit iffy. So what we need to do is we need to change out the wastegate for an upgraded one, so that way it's always gonna be working, you know, like it should, and we're not gonna be over boosting or having any issues with that. So for that, we got this right here. This is a tile wastegate. We're gonna be putting that. This is meant to go with the turbo kit that we have, the Garrett turbo and the ATP kit. So with these two items, we're gonna get the desired power number that we want. So let's go ahead and install them. So here we are after the install. It's been a while because it took a while to install that manifold and install the wastegate. I think that the most difficult part was having to change out the wastegate, because changing out the manifold is fairly simple. You have to remove the headlights, you have to remove the cowl, and then you get a little bit of access to the manifold, and it's just a bunch of 13mm bolts, pops right out. And I think one of the things that also helped out to do it through the top like that and not have to remove the turbo, because we didn't want to have to do that, was the fact that it was a V-band. So we just V-banded, we just unbolted the V-band from the turbo to manifold, and that just made it so much simpler to take it out. When we installed the wastegate, that was a whole nother story, because the wastegate is in the most difficult spot to get to with this turbo setup. On a stock Fiesta, it's probably a bit easier, but since we have the bigger turbo, the way that the wastegate sits, it sits right up against the block, so it's underneath the manifold. So it causes a little bit of issues with fitment and getting stuff, you know, swapped out. So I didn't want to have to remove the intake, want to have to remove all the water lines that were in the way and stuff like that. So I worked around it, but we got it done. You know, it took a little bit longer. I think we stayed up till like 4 in the morning that day trying to swap out all that stuff out. And it was to the point where we didn't really have time to show you guys us struggling with swapping all that out. But it's a pain. So I would recommend, you know, if someone else is going to do it, to just take the turbo out and take the time to remove the exhaust, take the turbo out. I just didn't want to have to do that and, you know, have to worry about the oil leaking or the coolant lines leaking and having to, you know, re-top off the cooling system. So I wanted to avoid all of that. So I took kind of a shortcut, but at the same time, it was a little bit difficult to do. But we got it done. And then when we went ahead and tested it, the car was only making around 14 pounds of boost, which wastegate should be 18. And we had to actually remove, so you guys saw the bit where we had the manifold installed without any heat wrap. And then after that, we actually found out that the wastegate wasn't set up properly, where we had to adjust it and actually preload the spring. So once we figured out what we needed to do, pretty much it was to twist full turns to preload, and we actually did 6 full turns from actual, it's kind of difficult to explain, but pretty much where the wastegate has a little stick on it, and then the actual turbo, actually the wastegate from the turbo has a stick on it, and then the wastegate has like a little fitting that goes on it. So from when it fits perfectly, we did 6 full turns to where it wasn't lining up anymore, and we just had to pull really hard on that stick to go ahead and put it back on. And that's how we got our preload, and we were able to do 18 pounds. So before we put in the manifold the second time, which, you know, keep in mind, the first time took us till like 4 in the morning, and we started like at, I want to say like 7. I don't know why it took so long. It was just a lot of stuff in the way, and it was late. We were tired. We were just trying to get it done so we couldn't really record a video. So no, I do not recommend it to do the install yourself. But yes, I recommend to have one of these manifolds installed in your car, because the spool is crazy. It went from full, like actually getting some spool, getting like 4 or 5 pounds at like 3,000 RPM, maybe getting full boost at around like 35, to actually spooling like around like 2,000 RPM and getting like full boost around like 20, 25, 3. So it dropped it almost 1,000 RPM to where now the power band is much lower, and the car just goes. It's really zippy, and it's a big turbo. So since it's a big turbo, it just hauls. Right now, after, you know, doing all these changes, we had to go ahead and change out the tune. We had a 27-pound tune, but once you do any type of modification on your car like this, you gotta make sure you contact your tuner, and before you even push it, get another tune, and you're gonna have to retune the car, because once you change anything on a turbo car, you're gonna wanna have to change the tune, because if you don't, that's when people start blowing their engines, because their tune is not in sync with what the mods that they have. So, you know, now we got it all sorted. It's got new heat wrap on it. We were able to get the wastegate to work properly. One of the reasons why we replaced it was because the OEM ones that come with the kit, I guess they tend to fail. We never had any issues with ours, but you know, that was recommended, and we just went ahead and went with a tile one to just knock that out, make sure that we have the best stuff in there, and we're not going to be worrying about anything going wrong, you know, as we're trying to enjoy the Fiesta ST. So just to show you guys what we do, we're actually going to go ahead and do a little bit of data logging session. We are on version 2 of the tune at 18 pounds still, so it's relatively safe. It's only pushing maybe 250, so it's not even fast right now. It feels quick. It feels just as fast as when it had 350, but you know, it's working good. So let's go ahead and do the data log, and then talk to you guys after that. All right, so let's go do some data logs. Here we go. We are getting ready to do the first data log. We are going to do it in 3rd gear. Wait till it straightens out a bit. Start at 2,000 RPM. Just push it. Full throttle, 3rd gear. There you go. That's the first little pull. Keep in mind, this was on the on-ramp to the freeway. So anytime time you get on the freeway, you have to step on it to match everyone's speed, and everybody's going around 80 right now on the freeway. So we're gonna stop the data log now. So we're using the Cobb tuner, and typically the tuner told us that we need to start data logging like 10 seconds before we go ahead and start doing the pull, and then from there, after we finish the pull, so it's just like one straight full third gear pull all the way up to 6,500 RPM, then we go ahead and let off, wait another 10 seconds, and then we go ahead and stop the data log. That way he has a sufficient file so he can base his tune off of. So here we go again. I'll be doing the second one. Wait till we straighten out and full throttle. So there we go. Manifold is installed. The wastegate is installed. Had a little bit of issues, got through them, went ahead and did a tune, got a version 2 of it, did some more pulls. So now you guys get to see how we do a little bit of data logging, because the tuner is actually in Texas. His company name is Tune Plus, and he deals with nothing but Fords and EcoBoosts and all that stuff. So he's the guy, you know, if you guys are looking to get it tuned. And he does it remotely, so we're in Arizona, and he just pretty much, we send him the data logs as we collect them. So right now, what we did, we just data logged with the Cobb, did some pulls on the on-ramp of a freeway. So we were going really slow, got up to speed, or got to red line in third gear, did 2 of them. And then what we do after this is we actually remove them from the Cobb, put them on the PC, and then from the PC we would go ahead and email our actual tuner, and then he just starts doing the magic, you know, messing with all the numbers, making sure that the car is safe to run, making sure all the fueling is done, and we get, you know, nice power numbers. So that was one of the limiting factors from us getting to 400. We were with the setup, we were at around 350, or should have been, mainly because we were having an issue with the spark plugs, but that has been all resolved. And the car feels super fast, and it's only running 18 pounds of boost right now, which is the wastegate pressure for the tile. We ordered it at 18 because with the boost controller, what you can do essentially is double the boost amount that's gonna go into the car, so we can literally take it up to 32 pounds of boost. And I'm not sure what's the safe margin on these cars. They are really low compression. We were running 28 pounds of boost before, and the tuner didn't want to up the boost, mainly because we didn't have a reliable wastegate, and because we didn't have the manifold, which also helps out, you know, with making it a lot safer, because the stock one is very restrictive. So after this is all done, after we get all the tunes done, it should be at 400, so we're probably gonna go try dynoing it again, make sure that it's making, you know, the desired power, make sure nothing's wrong, and just enjoy the car. It's super fast right now at 18 pounds of boost. Like, it feels amazing. It feels really drivable. I think that the power number that it's at is really nice for the car, but you know, we always want to have that kill map that just absolutely destroys. I think we saw a video of like a Hellcat racing one of these at 400, and the Hellcat got destroyed. So power to weight ratio on these little cars is no joke. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, you guys have a great day.